I've been working with Paris and Nigel and Chica on doing these musical connection events online, using music to help us feel a little bit better and connect with other people.
And doesn't it show what music and the strength of spirit can do for us, for all of us, for our well-being?
It's been so revitalizing and energetic to see a lot of you connect with us and see you all moving with us and enjoying the music.
We've got some fantastic musicians and singers giving up their time for you.
And music can be helpful. People can get stuck, both in their emotions and in their bodies. We're looking to give beautiful, enlivening emotional journeys.
I love the idea of listening to music with your whole body. Even our relationships are our bodies in relationship to other people.
This isn't wishy-washy new age stuff. It's got really good science behind it, and it works, and it has no side effects. I really enjoy these evenings and look forward to many more.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's good to see so many familiar faces and some new faces as well. This week the show is slightly different, and we're travelling with Nigel, and we're looking into some of the work that he does with the music therapy. I'm really looking forward to this. First up, I'd like to put on the screen the poll that will allow us to collect some data on how you're feeling right now. Just while we're doing the poll, I just put some pictures up from the Balkans Music Camp over in Bosnia, where Nigel is currently situated. He works there with people with music to help them transition into their lives and using music as a therapy. Some of the work out there he's done out there is absolutely amazing, and the joy that he brings to people's life, as you'll see in tonight's show, for me is absolutely special. Firstly, over to Dr. Jacob Robertson.
Thank you, Paris. It's so wonderful to see so many special friends from across the world so we can all travel to Bosnia together today. It's a great honor to be able to introduce Professor Nigel Osborne to you, which is no small task. How do you introduce a man who can talk in depth about any subject, whether it's about music, science, the arts, medicine, technology, history, current affairs, you name it. He can speak about it and in any language. But not only does he have an encyclopedic understanding, but he has one of the hugest hearts possible because he truly cares. Therefore, as a leading international composer and aid worker, he will fight to get to any corner of the world against all odds, to bring peace, joy, and contentment, reassurance, all through music. Whether it's a war or a global pandemic, he will make it. And what's more, he brings along with him his incredible team of musicians from Scotland. I mean, he'll tell us all about them. They're wonderful people. It's no surprise that Nigel was presented with the British Composer Award for Inspiration, because wherever he goes in the world, he inspires. Thank you, Nigel, and your amazing musical family who will be performing for us tonight from high up in the mountains of Bosnia.
Thank you very much, Chica. That's very kind. So yes, lovely to see everybody, and thank you for joining me in this little expedition high up in the mountains in Bosnia. They're celebrating 25 years of summer camps for children. They began just at the end of the war in Bosnia. We've been working with children, mostly with trauma during the war, and finding that music was very helpful in many, many ways. And as the war ended, we looked to how we might be able to continue the work in a way that could be of benefit. And what had happened was that many of the traumatized children, they had found their way towards the end of the war into special schools. They were the places that could deal with the challenges. And so what we did is we went into the special schools as they were opening, and we expanded our work to include the needs of children with special needs in general, not just trauma. So we expanded our work, and we've been doing that for 25 years. The summer camps play a special role because they're a place where we can get together, the teams that work together, get together, exchange ideas, motivate one another, have fun, and reaffirm our commitment together. And very often the camps involve literally hundreds of people. That has not been possible this year for our 25th anniversary for very obvious reasons. One of our sets of camps would have taken place in Croatia, but the regional government said that the camp should not take place, and I very much respect that decision. However, in Bosnia, they said that we could have the camp. They wanted us to have it for maybe a limited number of children. And the reason for that was that many children with special needs during this crisis have been having a rough time. It's not so easy. And so the Ministry of Health and the centres we work with thought that it would be better for us to do this. Take the risk of COVID and things might be a risk worth taking for the benefits of giving the children something to take away with them for the rest of this difficult period. So we had just a small group, 30 odd people, high in the mountains, and we do a lot of creative work. We play a lot of music, we have fun, we sing. And I'd like to start with a little sing song. The music of Bosnia is very special. This song comes from a repertoire called Sevda. Sevda is the Turkish word for love. But in the origin of this form, Sevda, there is also a resonance of the Arabic word Sauda, the feminine of Sawad, meaning black. And this refers to black bile, refers to Greco-Arabic medicine and the music of longing, the music of nostalgia, of melancholia. That's what it means. So Sevda has that quality, and it combines in Bosnia influences from the East, from Turkey, the Arabic world, with Western influences from the Adriatic Sea, from Hungary, and very strong influence actually from the Ladino Jewish community, which was big in Bosnia at one stage. So a very interesting combination of things. So here we have a little group, the first example, singing a song called Moy Dilbere, My Lover, and it tells the story of if you love me, why don't you take me to the market and sell me for an eye of gold to gild the gate to your house. It's an ironical plea, please pay me some attention if you love me. So Moy Dilberi, My Lover, sung by our kids just a day ago.
Three, just
Thank you. You'll notice that there are some older sort of young people there. The reason is that the special needs centres that we work with kept on helping and supporting some of those people who, were not able to advance in their lives in ways that they might have wished, and offer them help and support. And so they're still in touch. And this year, on our 25th year, they sent to join us in this small group some of the people who were children when we worked with them in the war. Some of the older people there were little kids when I worked with them 25 years ago. And so it's wonderful that they want to come back. That means a lot to me. And I often thought at the time, are we really doing any good? Is this working? Is this worth it? And 25 years later, I think there's a little answer somewhere saying, yes, maybe if people want to come back, maybe it had some value. So that's one of the things. I think that probably what I'll do, Paris, is skip one of the songs because I'm conscious of time. I'd like to jump to another kind of lively Sevda song. It's the third one called Churna Yada. It's the third song. And this is a story of a poor girl from Mostar, and the reason is that she loses her lover. You see, Sevda is the music of lost love, and so this is why she's a sad and poor girl. She's lost her lover, and this is, but it's quite an upbeat song and quite rhythmic. And playing with me are two very interesting musicians from Mostar. You see the gentleman playing guitar, Ivica Vinkovic, and his wife Susie on violin. And when in Mostar we started the first orchestra after the war, when the city was divided between East and West, we were in East Mostar. Ivica and Susie were the first people from the West to come over and join us and create this orchestra for the whole town. So the musicians were able to outwit the nationalist separatist politicians and create a single orchestra for the town. So that's Ivica and Susie playing with us there. So here again, so Churna Yada, a poor girl from Mostar, a rather rhythmic piece. We can hear that now, Paris. Next piece.
One, two, three, four. Viva
Okay, nice, sad song, but a lot of rhythm there. And you can hear da 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 ma da, the makam, the Arabic Turkish modes, together with this kind of European rhythm, together with also the influence here of the Roma. You can hear the Roma influence in the trumpet playing. It's a great song. We also spend most of our time, though, creating music. We don't play other people's music, we make our own. The next is a song that the children wrote. We have our methods of getting them to create music, words, called A Song About Love, that was written on our very first camp, and became a bit of a classic. And when we did a joint concert with a wonderful actress called Vanessa Redgrave, she liked the song so much that she put it into her repertoire. And so Vanessa around the world sings this song composed by little kids, a song about love. So here is Pjesma o ljubavi, song about love. Song about love. So sung around the world by Vanessa. And there are many other things we did that went around the world. We'll come to those later. Now I'd like to play with some things that we've created in the last days. We usually have a theme for our music camp. Sometimes we create musicals, operas, you name it. And this time our theme was, of course, 25 years. And so the first song I'd like to play is 25 Happy Years, written by the kids just in the last days in this performance with Jonathan Walton on trumpet, who has been one of our big supporters in Wellbeing Live and our work with the NHS. Jonathan was the real fantastic support in the programming to do with our website, and here he is playing his trumpet. By the way, Jonathan is as a background as a player, he's a great sort of jazz Roma player. He also studied at the Moscow Conservatoire, so he's got the classical chops as well. But here we go with our 25 Happy Years.
1, 2, 3, 4.
you. So these are kids' songs composed by young people. And the process is an authentic one. We don't write them for them. We have ways of encouraging them to create melodies and words, and they're often very, very inventive. Notice that there were some players there from of cellos and clarinets. They are from the Sarajevo Academy. They came up into the mountains to join us to help make a little orchestra for us. So the next one is a simple one called pentatonic horses. Pentatonic is a scale, and we're on the theme of 5, right? 5 times 5, 25. So here we've got 5 notes and horses, and a little improvisation on a table. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Pentatonic horses. So we are there where we are surrounded by animals. You can see the dogs, but there are also horses. And there's a section that does hippotherapy, which is using horses for children to help their feelings. And so that our children ride there as well. And so we have a lot of songs about horses. So the next one is called 5 Meadows, but it is 5 horses, 5 riders, 5 meadows, 5 times around the circuit at 5 o'clock. So we get 5 5s and it makes 25. So here we go with 5 Meadows. Thank you. The next song is one which celebrates the fact that 25 years ago, when we had the first camp after the war, was the year of the Atlanta Olympics, which was the 100th year of the Olympic Games. 5 times 25, of course, 4 times 25, sorry, bad maths. Anyway, thought was there. So this is a little song celebrating the Olympic Games, Olimpiada Limonada, because it rhymes. So that's how lemonade got into it. Anyway, here's the song about the Olympiad during the first year of our camps. Then a couple more before we get on to a little finale. One is 5. Of course, we've had 5 notes, pentatonic, but there are also 5 beats. So here's one, and this is a challenge in 5/8 musicians. Here we are, people who sometimes struggle with various things in their lives here, very, very competently performing in 5/8 time, alternating with 4 in sections of 5. So there we go. Some interesting musical mathematics. So 5 quaver bar.
Evo tebe, evo nas, pravi čas, 20 plus 5 godina, naši je. Pravi čas, 20 plus 5 godina, naši je.
Like to pay tribute to the gentleman leading that, a man called Tony I first met Tony during the war. I was working in Sarajevo, and he had been captured because he's of mixed religion, had been captured by those surrounding the city, imprisoned and brutalized outside Sarajevo by those besieging it, and managed to escape into the city, into the middle of, of hell, basically, during the siege. And because that was preferable, obviously, to the other situation. And Tony was one of the people that he would say we picked up off the street. Tony began to take an interest in percussion, and we developed a little drum orchestra, and he showed a lot of talent for that. And developed and developed and developed. I brought wonderful drummer at one stage when the war was over from South Africa, Eugene Skeef, to teach the guys. And so they got some really, he's a Zulu Xhosa position. And so they got some really professional support. And Tony got better and better and better. I began to work with him a lot, with him as a leader in therapeutic work. He had a gift for working with children, a real gift. And I wanted to see that grow. At the same time, I was writing an opera which needed a percussionist who knew styles that Tony knew from the Balkans, but also could read well. Very, very hard. It would have been challenging to the best professional orchestral percussionist. Tony taught himself to read, and to read in brilliant detail that would challenge a normal orchestral musician, and then toured the world with us, playing this opera with some of the best musicians around. So hats off to that guy, both as a musician and as a fantastic animator, for young people. Great energy, great creative spirit, Tony. So we've been lucky also to have people like that in coming up with us, growing with us in this process. The last of the pieces created in the last days that I want to play is called I Love My Telephone. And the reason for that is that 25 years ago was, of course, the first accessible mobile phones. The Motorola did the first one. And so here is a little piece, rather different, celebrating and also denigrating, because not everybody in our group thought that the mobile phone was necessarily a good thing in our lives. And so we have varying opinions in the group. And here is our mobile phone piece. Volume telephone, I love my telephone, or maybe I don't love it so much. Here we go. little Izetta there is controlling a series of rhythms, which she can add when she wants different layers, and then the band going crazy. What's the value of that? Well, it's creating a kind of absorbing immersion. It's a situation socially where everybody gets involved very, very deeply, emotionally, physically together. And so we create, whereas our therapeutic work is sometimes at an individual level, is sometimes quite subtle and delicate. At other times, it can be quite wild. And there we have this tremendous energy coming from the people there. All of this is rather rough, right? I mean, and that's fine, because music is a journey and it moves towards something. And we are moving towards sounding beautiful. We may sound rough, but we are on our way to sounding beautiful. And we very often get there. I'll give you an example now, a couple of examples. In that same barn in the mountains in Bosnia a few years ago, the children composed a musical. And we had a lot of Roma children with us at that time. So we made it a Roma musical in Roma style. And then I took some of this material and was asked by the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic to offer them some pieces that we'd worked with the children. So this was one of the pieces that I offered them. And that piece they're taken there again around the world. And you'll see it here now played by a group from Manchester called Safa. And it's just a little excerpt of our Roma musical created by the children. And the point I'm trying to make is that we're on a journey. You'll hear this now played perfectly by the best musicians walking on the planet. But this is a process. Why can't it come from the humblest and simplest and most honest of things to the most beautiful and polished of things? What's wrong with that? So here's the other part of the journey. This is where we're going. The next piece is Safa Ensemble, a little excerpt from our Roma musical. I've translated into English the text. So I think it's one of the destinies of musical art is to join things up. I'd like to see far more things created by people living their lives in challenging ways. I want to see that material coming into the world of high art. And that will make the art higher, not high enough at the moment. To get really high, it has to embrace everything, and I believe that is a pathway we're on. So please don't be upset by our roughness. We know we can be good, and we know we can be better, and we aspire towards it. We move towards it through our journey. The last piece is a piece I wrote. I don't normally play my own stuff, but Claire, who was working with us, wanted to do it for a reason. She's a cellist. During the war, there was in Sarajevo a cellist called Vedran Smailovic, cellist of Sarajevo, who played during the siege in places where there had been massacres and where people had died. And he went and played there, and he risked his life to do that every day as a kind of artistic resistance. And it sort of worked. It became the spirit of the city. The city did resist peacefully an aggression. there is a way in which the cello can be mightier than the machine gun. And Vedran demonstrated that. And he asked for support, and I went to join him. I was working there anyway, and we played a few concerts together in Sarajevo during the siege. And I wrote a piece for him. And Clea's about to play it because she's playing just behind a tree beyond which is the mountain that I used to have to walk over to get into Sarajevo during the war. You would go over the mountain at night and then go through a tunnel under the airport into the city. That was the way in if you were trying to be an aid worker. And so I did that. And I took this piece for Vedran. I wrote it for him knowing he had frostbite in his fingers. So all cellists will recognize, or musicians will recognize, they've been using limited number of fingers in a special way to make it possible to play. So here is Clea playing above in the mountains above where Vedran was defending his city with his cello. Here is Adagio for Vedran Smailovic. Thank you. So Vedran played that in the ruins during the war. And there we are. Music can sometimes do important things. Vedran certainly did. Thank you very, very much for your attention to this very strange offering. And we'll get back to normal next week, I'm sure. But there we are. Thank you very much for joining me in the Bosnian mountains for something a little bit different. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you, Nigel. Just whilst we still got you, Nigel, would you like to go through your analysis with everyone?
Yes, with pleasure. Absolutely. Here it's very simple. We had quite a few pieces, and you can see that in the first set, we go down, up and down again from muy dilbere, quite quite a bit of energy down to, we didn't play the second song, but it's a rather calm one, back up with the energy of Trudna, that one, and then down again for Piesma Voljubavi, the fourth one. Then the set of 6 pieces that I chose from pieces that were composed during the last days, starting with the Happy Years. Interestingly enough, that the horses on the table have quite an unexpected high energy. I think I understand why. It's very interesting. But it's to do, I think, with the energy of the people singing, with the percussion on the table. Then for 5 Meadows down a bit, then for Olympiada up, then up again for the 5 quaver bar that Tony was doing. And finally, of course, the highest point, I love my telephone. I don't think you get more kind of energetic than that. And then the last 2 pieces, the Roma Prince, kind of middling energy. Then, of course, the Adagio, the most calm point of the evening to end on. So that's the analysis for tonight.
Thank you so much. I think I'm speaking on behalf of everyone that's joined us tonight. That was truly inspirational. And reading back through some of the comments in the chat, people really enjoyed the work that you do and find it very valuable. So thank you for that. Next over to Dr. Angela Kennedy, who's going to give you an overview on how we can perhaps use music therapy in the future.
Wow, Nigel, it's absolutely amazing what you've been doing over there. You've given me too many hooks. I don't know where to start. I could talk for an hour and still not be done. But I wanted to pick up on this idea of artistic resistance. I think it's a completely amazing idea. And how do we use the art to resist politics, traumas, situations that we don't like? And I think it has a really important role because it expresses things that are beyond words quite often. And when you started off the evening talking about, you know, how we, you know, those doubts that you had, are you making a big enough difference? Is this worth the effort? You know, those kind of critical thoughts we have to resist in some way, because if you say that to yourself or you have those thoughts about other people, it generally has one of 2 impacts. It either leaves you feeling like, well, it's probably not worth the effort, you know, somebody else can do it better, or it makes the process a real striving for something perfect. And where you kind of punishing yourself that nothing is ever enough. And what I really like sometimes about a true compassionate resistance is that you create that voice, but you use it in a tone towards yourself that is kinder. Well, am I making a difference? And that doesn't mean to say you have to give up on your anger, but it means that you have to be wise about, well, how can you make a difference? Be reflective and curious about how you do that. And what I really loved about tonight, Nigel, is that when it comes to leadership, the best way of doing that is to keep your own critical voice in check and really allow the resistance and the creativity and the facilitation and inclusion of other people that might not necessarily seem very able or gifted to take part in something. And by surrounding yourself with people who you are enabling to be the best that they can be, then you become a really great leader, and something emerges that couldn't emerge if everybody just gave up on those critical thoughts, or if everybody strived too hard for something perfect. It was beautiful tonight, Nigel, and beautiful in its imperfections, and that is what we need. That is artistic resistance. How we create a creative process for everyone to flourish and be truly themselves. It's completely amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Privileged to do these with you.
Thank you. Likewise.
So that's it from me. We are still doing the poll tonight, even though it's a different kind of evening, because we're really curious, you know, as to what it is that happens on a Thursday evening. What is it that are the processes that makes us feel better by connecting on these musical journeys? So stay with us a little bit longer to finish that off. Join us next week. And thank you so much, everybody.